This is not a question of purity. This is a question of practicality. Guess what? None of you people in Congress are pure enough for me. What is the objection to the Ukraine aid? Are you willing to watch as Vladimir Putin marches into Kyiv?
A little bit, yeah, but that's irrelevant.
Ben Shapiro is making it more clear day by day just what side he's really on. He is essentially holding everybody hostage that has ever had the opinion that we should help or fund Ukraine or Israel, and taking that as a permanent blank check for all eternity. And here I thought he was an American political commentator.
So as it turns out right now, there's a big split in the Republican Party over aid to Ukraine, and there's a big split in the Democratic Party over aid to Israel. And so cobbling the two together, the question that I have for many of the Republicans who are opposed to Ukraine aid is, what is the objection to the Ukraine aid? If you are a person who full-scale believes that we ought to withdraw aid from Ukraine, what is the American, hard, realpolitik national interest in watching Russia just take the country? So here's what needs to happen now. Mike Johnson needs to nuke the stupid rule negotiated by Kevin McCarthy to get the speakership that allows any member a motion to vacate. That needs to die. It's a dumb rule. I'm more fiscally conservative than any of these members of Congress. I also recognize there is a reality. That reality is called legislation. This is not a question of purity. This is a question of practicality. Guess what? None of you people in Congress are pure enough for me. I'm full-scale pro-life. I'm full-scale small government. I'm full-scale anti-entitlements. I'm full-scale all of those things. Also, what is the objection to the Ukraine aid?
Look, I'm not gonna try to bullshit you and make you think that I understand international politics at all, because frankly, I don't. But I know one thing. You could look around our country and see a whole lot of stuff that needs proper funding, but it never gets it.
And let's be real about this. It's insane that we haven't raised the retirement age in the United States. It's totally crazy.
Look at the homeless veteran problem. Hell, homelessness in general. Look at our crumbling infrastructure. I could go on. All these things never seem to get proper funding, yet we are sending out blank checks to the tunes of billions and billions of dollars, like every other week it seems. And when we get any sort of real funding for the United States, these politicians are insider trading on the information, then double dipping by having their buddies grab up all the contracts while they grossly overcharge us and string us and the system along, being in a constant state of incomplete. Well, at least from my perspective, it really seems like people are starting to question influencers like Ben Shapiro and their unwavered support for everything besides helping Americans. And it really seems like his position in the realm of conservative influencers has fallen off.
Who has a bigger influence in the conservative political space? And he made it seem like Ben Shapiro is number one above and beyond anybody else. Do you put Ben ahead of Tucker?
Oh, well, in terms of business, absolutely. Well, yes. Yes, I do. Actually, since Tucker has...
Who do you think has a bigger voice within the conservative, voter, Tucker or Ben Shapiro?
I think Shapiro is far down the list.
Far down the list?
Yeah. I think that he is more controversial than he is influential. He has gotten some things wrong that he shouldn't have over the years because he's about courting the converted. And the future of independent media is about common concerns and reaching across. It's absolutely the right space. He's not in that space. And getting rid of Candace, he made it clear that he doesn't want to be in that space.
Yeah, honestly, Ben Shapiro has really fallen off a cliff since like 2016 or so. Every once in a while, he might have a decent take, but it seems the vast majority of the time, it's the most Bush-era rhino take you could possibly imagine. Look at how he used to address America needing to help Israel versus how he does now.
They say that I want America to fight wars for Israel. Nope. First of all, Israel can take care of herself. If Israel is forced to the wall, the possibility of nuclear exchange is extremely high. That is why it is very important that the United States provide the material aid to Israel.
Look, I'm not saying that we shouldn't help anyone ever, but we should definitely not be handing out blank checks for all eternity, and anyone questioning the matter is considered somehow being a traitor or a bad person. That's just ridiculous. And really makes me question if your best interest is really in America.
But there are people on the right who have spent the last 2 months every single day focused on a conflict in a foreign country as our own country becomes dangerously unstable on the brink of financial collapse, with tens of millions of people who shouldn't be here in the country. We don't know their identities or the purpose of their being here. Like stuff that's could destroy the country for real and make it impossible for my kids to live here. They've said nothing about that, and they're focused with laser intensity on foreign conflicts. And I'm like, at some point, I've got 4 kids. If I'm so caught up in the problems of my neighbor's children and completely ignoring my own children as they get addicted to drugs and kill themselves, and I can't imagine how someone like that could get an audience of people who claim to care about America, because he doesn't, obviously.
Why does America always have to come last? These people's interest is clearly more about fattening that wallet than making sure America is in a better place. I think I might need to make a big video on Ben Shapiro to show what kind of person he really is. Let me know if you guys would like to see that. But anyway, back to our American political commentator.
The Biden administration is now effectively preparing to make aid to Israel contingent on unspecified changes to Israeli policy, which means that Israel can do little or nothing to appease the White House. Hamas is now in control of the Biden administration.
Let's just say someone said the same thing about Israel. Do you think Ben Shapiro would consider that problematic? Something tells me he would. And I find it kind of funny that Ben Shapiro can't see the utter irony in making a statement like this. Shocker. But then again, this is from someone that describes himself as distinctly anti-cancel culture, but then does what could only be described as the perfect example of cancel culture.
In fact, he has repeatedly said cancel culture does not exist. Okay, it does exist. The fact that there are people out there who want you to lose your job for the sin of saying things they don't agree with is extraordinarily real, and it is happening on a moment-by-moment basis. You know, the Daily Wire is a publisher, not a platform. Publishers obviously have to decide what sort of things they wish to pay for the publication of, and when it comes to hosts and publishers, parting ways, obviously there'll be a non-meeting of the minds. That's pretty much all I can say on that.
Mm-hmm. What an absolute joke. Like, I don't even like Candace Owens, but she was clearly an extremely popular personality on your network. It must have been quite the disagreement for you to break up such a beneficial business relationship.